Callum, I want to start with the most important question of the day, if you don't mind. I've only seen the first two episodes. Please tell me that Meatball the dog has a long and healthy story arc.
Sean, I wish I could tell you, but I can't. I don't want to give you any spoilers, man.
Mission accomplished, boys.
Meatball was one of my favorite actors to work with in my whole 10 years of doing this. I mean, it's just like the dedication to his craft, and he was always focused, wasn't he?
Never had a false moment.
No, never. Yeah, really truthful.
Got a name? Meatball. Welcome to the 100th, Meatball.
Oh, Meatball. Remember Meatball?
Good old Meatball.
Jesus.
Meatball was such a team player on set, and
yeah,
I'm really happy they got to bring Meatball in for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
With DeMarco.
If something happens to him, I'm coming for both of you guys.
Okay.
I promise.
That wolf's part dog.
I'm wondering what you can share about the claustrophobia of the planes and the interiors and the cockpits that will help an audience member better appreciate the story being told.
See, we had like a few. There were a bunch of replica cockpits, and some of them had different pieces, to put cameras, as the series went along. And there was one particular version where, there's a really specific step pattern you have to do when you get into the cockpit, because there's two seats up there, but it's really, really cramped. So you have to know exactly how to do it. And I think there was a day that Austin, Callum, and I, just one after the other, just tried to get that right, because these men were doing this thousands of times, when we had to make it seem like we had done it thousands and thousands of times. So it's cramped up there. So you gotta know what you're doing.
We had a boot camp building up to filming, and we learned a lot about the B-17s and the Flying Fortresses, and we were delved into so much kind of knowledge and information about them. And then I remember when we went to the location the first day, kind of being able to see the sets and the replica of the B-17 built, and that was the first day me and Barry met, actually. And it just to see it there, it had such presence on the hard stand and the size of it. But then also once you go in, how compact everything is, and Barry can probably speak more about that, because I spent kind of more time working on the exteriors of the planes, but I was lucky enough to be able to go inside of them, and once you have all the layers and the gear and the life jackets on, to really be able to move around. And there was no extra space. It's literally like every compartment is.
And you're attached to so many things, to so many wires, and then you got the mask on, and you're like, I can't really breathe, and you know what I mean? But it all adds to it, and you can't complain when you're up there. You got to remember what these men went through, and if you find yourself complaining about costume is too thick, or there's too many layers, it's like, get a grip.
Also, what the planes could go through, like the planes could take so much battering, and then they'd return, and I'd have scenes where they come back from these missions, and you'd see like half a wing shot up, and they really were, they could really withstand a lot. Even though when you kind of feel the metal and stuff, it's quite thin, they're quite rickety, but they had this way of staying up in the air.
Heavy machine in the sky, it's fascinating that it lifted off the ground even.
It's like a tin can, that thing, These guys will go up and freeze to death and just hold on tight for 7-8 hours. And what they did was nothing short of extraordinary. And the way they did it was the most volatile atmosphere in warfare ever. Nothing's come close to it. And you'll see in episode 3, there's like a whole mission, and you really get to experience what they see and what they feel. And that's what makes this show so brilliant, is that you get that, and you get that part of it. Then you also come back down to earth, back to England, and you see them deal with their traumas and the grief, and how that's taken a toll on their mind, body, and spirit. The loss of their friends, and somehow find the guts to go back up into the planes and do it all over again.
Let's rack them up and knock them down.
Barry, you mentioned the costuming. I would love to hear what you think about Colleen Atwood's contributions.
Yeah, she done a great job, even to the detail of the Feckin buttons, and to the socks that you don't see that we're wearing, and every single thing really added. She done a brilliant job. I even remember the oxygen masks being sometimes a little off, and she'd make sure she'd come in and she'd make sure that was all fixed, and she every single detail, every single clip, every everything was precise. It just adds to your character, you know. It's not just for aesthetic, really.
She is unbelievable. She's amazing. You know, I've been a fan of her work for years. What was really interesting is, like, you know, we're all wearing the same uniform, essentially. And it was Colleen's job to work with us and try and add little accents, little different pieces to sort of make it pop and make, you know, a little neck scarf here, or a little way that Crosby would tuck his tie in that maybe, you know, no one else did. You know, they all had the same regulation uniform, but it's how they wore it and how we had those conversations with Colleen to really make the characters pop.
It is such a gift working with Colleen Atwood. She's really, I mean, she's second to none. The amount of research that she and her team do, and to find, you know, particularly, I hadn't thought about it beforehand, but when you have something where there is a uniform, but yet to find the subtle nuances of difference in personality, and how one person may wear a scarf and another person, you know, the stitching might be slightly different on you know, one piece of their jacket, or the amount of focus that so many people will probably never even realize the amount of detail that she put into every character.
And the collaboration of it too.
Yeah.
It's
completely.
really beautiful.
And how you're able to collaborate with her, and yeah, she's such a gift to all of us.
Colleen Atwood, I've worked with her many times before, going back to Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And
right.
And we have such a good time together, and she is so brilliant, total genius. She just won for Wednesday an Emmy, which is amazing. And if you see that, you go, whoa. She always brings it. And so anyway, you think in a uniform thing, a studio would say, well, we don't need anybody great. You just put a bunch of uniforms in a warehouse and you alter their... Man, she makes every one of those boys who gets in a uniform feel like that's his uniform. It means something. Gives it all just a little bit of a thing, just between her and that actor. All the boys love her. She does not suffer fools. And I'm always proud when I get to work with her. She's the greatest.
I think we may be done. We are going to sit here and take it. We're going to stick with our mission as long as we can fly.
We won't go without a fight.